Objection! Yes, exactly. So, yeah, we're carrying on with case 3. And we're in Old London, in the Old Bailey. And we've got the case of the carriage with the murder in it and what we figured out last time. So, and I don't quite remember what that was. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, right, we're putting the defendant on the stand now. What we've figured out is that the defendant... let's just recap. So, there was a murder on this omnibus. The defendant was apparently, supposedly, according to witnesses, sitting next to the victim, who is... Let's see. This is the defendant, Magnus McGilded, and the victim was this guy, Thrice-Fired Mason, a brickmaker. Both the driver... Bruce Fairplay, a banker, and this guy who is an apprentice milliner, Lade the First, is they all say that they saw Magnus stab Thrice Fired in the chest once, but we've broken their testimonies apart to show that they're kind of lying. Bruce owes Magnus McGilded money anyway, and maybe he was lying to get out of his debt, but they were adamant they saw blood on the hands of both hands of the person who did the stabbing. And we found out that there was probably another person in the carriage. So, you know, it could have been that person that stabbed him. We've laid enough doubt down now because we've proven that Magnus McGilded was wearing gloves and only one of them had blood on it. His right hand had blood on it. And these guys did see 2 bloody hands. We know that's truth. We have no reason to doubt that. So now we're saying that means there was another person in the carriage and he was sitting in the cabin below the upper deck. They couldn't see him from where they were because he was directly below them. They couldn't see through the skylight. They only had a certain angle of the rear-facing seats at the front of the cabin. So that's where we are. And we're about to put Magnus on the stand and find out now what he has to say. All right, let's go. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now 2 matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. Now, he's told us that he was asleep for the whole time because the cabin sends him to sleep. Like the motion just makes him sleepy. The second, if that is if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? Begod, no. 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the question, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded. The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night, with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true, so he did see the guy. That must mean he got on before the passenger, or rather, the passenger got on before this guy fell asleep, or he got on after that passenger. Ah, here we go. Aye, 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Oh, what? You what? No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry I am, Lord Van Zykes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her here into the courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Oh, he's a saint. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. I don't think he's buying that. Who was the young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in the courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Bang! Ah! Smoke! Ah! Fire! Fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! After them! No use! I can't see anything through the smoke! And the fire engine's going past, by the way. That was perfect timing. Thank you very much, South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue. Good. I'll pay you later for that one. So I'm boosting the production rating of this show here, guys. I actually don't know if you heard the sirens over my voice. They were there, though, trust me. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. I don't know, maybe it's this fire here that's going off that's just making all this smoke. Why would you have these flames? You heard the siren, but it was outside your, though it was outside your own window? Oh, you thought it was. Right, yeah. No, that was probably here. That's the thing I'm not going to miss when I move. You know, living down, well, on the street behind, literally 300 meters towards the east of here. Yeah. Fire engines. That's the fire base, so anytime they set off I can hear them as soon as they come out of the depot. And they invariably are going one way or the other, so it's a coin toss each time as to whether they're going to tear past the house on the back here. I've been keeping up with the local news sites as well, and lately in my town I'm worried about how much they report. I don't know if they're just doing this because it's just always happening and it's their flavour of the month, but lately it seems like there's an article every few days about how many fires were started deliberately, like acts of arson in the town right now. And it's like, wow, this is suddenly happening. What, has it always been like this and you're just paying attention to it and giving it exposure, or is this an outbreak of arson lately? You know, it's kind of worrying. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff, amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Ooh, oh, to be... You know, we finished a little bit on time with the last stream. I could have just carried on for another 3 or 4 minutes and got to this point. Oh well. You never know with these games, it could have ended up being another 40 minutes of exposition. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what's happened. Miss Sasato? I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing a ninja would use. Ninjas, guys, they're behind this. They're just making sure everyone is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl. Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. Like, why would he keep this shit from us? I think he was summoned into the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Not surprising. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what is she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Yeah. I've been wondering about that. That was one of the things we got last time, was that the driver said that he had 4 passengers and 20 pence. And I'm not going to air fondle to make the 5 gesture this time, but he had 4 passengers and 20 pence, but then we found out it's 4 pence a passenger. So then he confessed to having swindled the passengers by charging them 5 pence. So then it will come to 20. But if that's the case, he's been lying about that as well, if there was a 5th passenger, because surely then it would have been 4 pence a passenger. But all the other passengers said, yep, he did, he charged me 5 pence. I thought that was the rate for the evening bus. It's like, So if he's lying, they're lying as well. Which means this is definitely becoming very conspiratorial. This wasn't just them seizing opportunity to lie, you know, and better themselves in some way. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now, it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. He's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go straight in. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Yes. I think I'm already going to call how he helped her escape the scene the luggage box underneath the bench. He hid her in there, I bet. And then she snuck out when nobody was looking, after the police carted him away. Very mysterious. Hey, wait, is that Luigi? Luigiette? No. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. He must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume in the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zykes. My lord, I believe you've established the cause of the smoke which veiled the proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? There was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Posing, you know, very dramatically. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord? Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place and why she tried to bolt like that. It's all tied up with the events of the night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how the young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like the defense lawyer needs that information or anything. This is a common theme in these games as well, is that you end up defending people without actually knowing anything about the trial at the very beginning of the trial. You always discover as you go along, and it's like, I'm sure this isn't how it works in the real world. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding a wee self away. Oh, so she was already in the luggage seat. She may have been under there to begin with. If that was the case. So she's not the 5th passenger who did the stabbing, she's an unknown 6th party who was just hiding there? Because he would have woke up on the seat and it lifts up as a bench, so she couldn't have gone in there while he was still asleep. But could she have seen it? I don't know if there's a vent under there for people to look through. Interesting. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, the young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? It is exactly as the defence counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord. And he's only saying that because he was asleep when the other person was on. Very well. The defence may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Hey, Ryu, don't look at me, dude. I'm just here for the ride. So to speak. Right, so he took the back seat in the omnibus and then nodded off. And since the whole thing is a bench, she couldn't have gotten in there, you know, after the stabbing and before he woke up. Hold it! Let's press. So when you first got on the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either. So you were the first passenger, as it were, I see. Aye, and that's why I took the back seat as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? Oh, by all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, it is the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. So he's not someone who likes travelling backwards. And of course I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Van Zyx has this brooding silence down to an art form, by the way. And then Begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me with the fair start. Right, press. A loud thud, you say, and a scream. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. Do you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed? Maybe that thump against the floor is what startled the girl in the box and she screamed. Well, now you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me up and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Oh, that's right, it would be, yeah. It'd be the milliner. He screamed. Oh, not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. Oh, so, yeah, girl in the box then. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. What? Zaras! With a resub!
Low.
Low! How's it going, dude? Thank you for that resub. That's 44 months now. Thank you so much on a 44-month streak. Appreciate that. How are you doing today, dude? How's your week been? Everything good? Thank you for that support. It's much appreciated. Hello, howdy. Howdy to you too. So there was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet. Well, sat him up on the seat across from me. You got a new job? Oh, really? Wow. Excellent. I mean, on to better things, I should hope, then, yeah? That sounds good. Good luck with it. Uh-huh. You sat him up? The victim, you mean? That I did, on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Alright, Lord Van Zykes. Now, why would that be? Oh, you're going for that company in Barcelona then? Oh, right, yeah, I remember you telling me about that during roleplay. So you're taking that job. Wow, that's a big... Are you moving or are you working remotely? Would you have to relocate down there? But damn, Barcelona. Nice. Sounds good. Remote at first, then move. Oh, wow. Hey, that's a big life change then coming up for you, yeah. Awesome. Well, good luck with it. Hope everything works out. That sounds fantastic. It's a good city, boss. I've only been for one day, you know, but very cool city. Especially with all the melting buildings along the main route with all the different, like, fascias and everything, and they're all just kind of weird and misshapen and strange. Very cool. You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in the carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. That is true. Anyway, upstanding members of London society, that is. Wow. Wow, shade thrown. Well, now, as you know, I'm something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no, I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out whys and wheres first. The whys and wheres for? You just broke the news to your boss today. They were surprised. I can imagine, yes. Like, oh, hi, I quit and I'm going to Barcelona eventually. Bye. What? Yeah, I'd be surprised too. Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self just do the same thing? Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the collapsing victim. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless me soul, what did I find? What did you find? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious. Under your backside? It's a squeaky fart. And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, we did. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a look through and around the inside. But we've already found that. That was like the first thing I found when I looked at it. And that's where I found her. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding a wee self away. You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating on my chest. Ugh, you're really overreacting this. Still, and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. All this happened then, that's a long sequence of events, because after the scream, the people on the deck above, that alerted the driver. You know, they said they saw the moment of the stabbing, this is no longer adding up. The timeline is starting to get very fuzzy. Because the people on the deck said they saw the stab, and the milliner said he screamed. Then the driver said he stopped the carriage, got out and went round and had a look. And that's when he saw McGilded in there. So they didn't see the moment of the stabbing at all. Like, this is starting to turn into a long sequence of events. Guy fell over on the thing, he picked him back up, the scream, he looked inside, he lifted the cubby hole, pulled the girl out, sat her down and had a chat. In all that time, the carriage supposedly stopped when the guys up at the top saw the stabbing, and 2 hands covered in blood. And then the driver got out and had a look around the back. Like, this is getting very, very out of shape. To the seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. While I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, the fella's voice this time. Presumably the scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats, right. So this is when that happened and they supposedly saw the stabbing. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen the young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat in the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. Defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realised something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Who has said nothing yet? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Oh no, Lestrade? Oh no. Oh, please tell me she's like the daughter of a Scotland Yard detective. Say, spy dogs, how's it going? I object to the fact that I don't object. Well objected. I'm glad you're keeping objective on this. Yeah. How's it going, spy dogs? Good to see you. She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. Ah, she's a pickpocket. Commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here? A petty thief? With a name like Lestrade? Come on. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Whoa! Fucking hell. What? Ah! Girl got a smoke grenade cannon. How dare you? What is the meaning of this? And then she was gone. Ah! The girl! She's gone! Open your eyes! I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? La boom, yeah. I know what you lot are thinking, grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. She's totally northern in my eyes. Go on, that's what your head. That's what's in your heads, innit? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine. Oh God, no! Not the green. Ah! Oh. Yes, let the full accent out. Seems Cockney to me. It could do, yeah. Gotta let the full South Yorkshire loose here. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. And all I need for what to do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Plus, I can't really do a very good Cockney accent, so that's out of the question. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh god damn, look at that hand cannon. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags. Why does that look like something out of Herlock Sholmes' inventory? It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Ah, don't wave that thing in my direction again. Oh, here we go. Pours himself a drink. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? You got a dead stare, like, seriously, you paying attention? It's alright, lass, you can tell him the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in the case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to. In the movie, she'd totally be played by Rose Leslie. You know nothing, Jon Snow. What the girls saw. So, I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. Got nothing to show for my troubles that night. I tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that the swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? Well, because of what I already explained earlier. As I'm sure I said before, sir. Here we go. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I was sat that night. And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath the seat, I presume. So if he was sat on there and fell asleep and then the guy was stabbed and there was no one in the cabin when he got in and then he woke up to find a guy stabbed, the person who did it couldn't possibly have gotten in there if he was still sat on the seat asleep. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of this girl's stature. Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there, because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration. Ah. So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realised your actions would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought, It was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of the less fortunate lass. Oh my goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. Oh, look at that, he's going for the innocent. That just leaves the lady with the typewriter. We're wearing her down, though. Oh, here we go. With calm and calculated reason, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. What? Oh, we got a full majority now. Because this is a silly court where the jurors are allowed to keep making their mind up and changing their minds and could stop the court proceedings at any time to deliver a guilty or innocent verdict before all the evidence is heard. Saints alive. All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty? Mr. Naruhodo, this... well, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious! Well, no, because I bet Van Zykes now is going to do the same thing we did when we got all 6 of them saying guilty, and we challenged it. And we got to interrogate them and their reasonings. He's going to do the same. We won? Are you sure? Objection! Here we go. What? Whoa. Whoa, dude. Well, I mean, put your leg up, mate. Yeah, that's fine. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. The table kicky beginneth. Oh god, does he do this often? This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in the British judicial practices. Oh really? Oh god. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? It's almost like we should wait until the entire case is heard before allowing the jurors to make their decision. The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of the cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. Let me guess, they found, like, hair fibers, or maybe she left something behind? The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. Ah. Oh, that's where he's going with this. She couldn't possibly have fit in there with all the other stuff. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Oh, good lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilder's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? But when we examined the thing, there was stuff in there. Has it been removed now? Hang on, let me go back and have a look. Let's examine it. Yeah, just go in. We've already heard all that. Oh wait, I don't think I examined the bloodstain on the floor. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Zykes has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. I'm pretty sure this wasn't here when we examined the coach before. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? The seat has a handle, yep. Look, it's empty. This isn't the same coach. Guys, when the smoke grenade went off, I bet somebody came and swapped the coach. Coach 418, that wasn't the same number, was it? I don't remember. I'd have to look back over my old VODs. It's been like most of a week since we played this. You think it was? I think it was 416. Yeah. It was for something team, but I'm pretty sure it was... Yeah. London 5th Avenue. That's the same. Jobmasters London's head office. Baker Street, Strand Street. Destination's different? But, I mean, we can't examine the number. Oh, we can. Is it flashing? It's flashing. Can't find anything out of place. Oh, okay. No, it's just slowly pulsing. And it still has Phoenix Wright Omnibus, but I'm guessing that's like the manufacturer name, right? This is a different coach. Somebody swapped it, because the one we looked at did not have blood on the floor. I know I wouldn't have missed that. That is a different coach. Entirely. To support this side of the story. Which means our guy is now lying. And this whole thing was orchestrated with the girl with the smoke grenade to get people in here to swap the evidence. Or tamper with the same coach. Pour some blood on the floor, move the stuff out of the compartment, tell a story about how the girl was in there. How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend, me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine details, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zykes. Dude, you looking sketchy as fuck at me right now. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on the matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? I'm not gonna lie. Lying's bad. It wasn't empty. Because this is going to lead us to whoever's tampered with this evidence are the people who are guilty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case as a counsel for the defense, but as far as I remember at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel? Arhabe Whist! What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. That stunned Van Zykes, though. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Because it's right. Damn it. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand, but it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I guess we're not getting paid, guys. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. But there's a cubbyhole under the seat, and it's as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. You think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. Oh, here we go. He's going to be like, no, we have to keep it full. It's regulations. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The guild rule states that the omnibus should be properly and fully equipped at all times, so it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying. I mean, there's always the possibility as well that the original carriage that was wheeled in here was tampered with. That is another possibility. And that this is the true carriage and he just tried to set things right and bring the right evidence to trial because somebody brought a false carriage into this area. But we know what we saw before. And if we deny that, then we cut off all avenue to prove that there's been tampering, and by who. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Oof. Oh god, they're all gonna go guilty now, aren't they? Quite so, I must concur here. Whoosh. With calm, calculated reason, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yet you've changed your truth twice now, so... Yes, but a very different truth it seems. Alright, so half of them have declared guilty now. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But for now we proceed. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Yes, I still need to do that. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. They snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always, okay? So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Yeah, but no. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And 1 little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before it's his last run, see? But that's when I slipped into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment, full of equipment for the coach, no? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck it all out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all the stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue. A waste of time, got nothing to show for me troubles. A waste of time, why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own, in the God permit, at least some of the time. I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit? Oh yeah, well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you came out of the hiding place to and get away. That's it. Only that night, this cove was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. You mean to tell us you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin. Yeah, right, mister. To be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find the child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. Alright, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place it's pitching there. So you couldn't see into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushions up with me head and have a look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher to who I'm gonna fiddle. Oh. Guys, she's gonna fiddle. Gonna air fiddle. See, I'm not the only one. The northern thing. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see? So most of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. Hang on though. McGilded said that seat is the comfiest one. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason you weren't able to push the cushion out to take a peek, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places, feels too much like being thrown in the clink. That's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Obson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? Yeah. I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanour. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there, nothing else for it. After a while, here's a loud bang, nearly jumped out of my skin.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, not if there was already the scream. Well, not if there was already the loud bang. That meant he was already on the floor by that point. Well, girl, did you see what happened at the crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke who had fallen on the floor in the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGilded's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. It's because of that, and the swell found me. Yeah, he did help me get away, mind.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit and ended up falling onto me. Oh, how awful. Both my hands got covered in blood and made me feel sick as a dog. So there's the 2 bloody hands. And at that point, that must be when the people up on the top deck looked down and saw it and thought it was the stabbing. Both the hands were covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while, is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look up. The horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see to it that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yeah. It's clear they're all still very unsure. If we could find some conclusive piece of evidence among the new testimony, I'm sure it would clinch the verdict we want. I think you're right. I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Alright, so what have we got that... I haven't really thought of anything that's breached the evidence. Snuck in the carriage before they looked up. The horses... Waste of time, got nothing to show for the troubles that night. You can't see a bind that thing. It's pitching there. After a while I hear a loud bang, nearly jumped out of the skin. And this guy found me and helped me get away. Very vague. We need to pry some of this open. Have a look at the photograph again. See that there? I'm wondering what that is still. I know what it is. It's a missing button. Okay. So there's a button missing. Right there. Might have come off him at some point during the stabbing. Or maybe it's just always been off. Maybe he's just got a missing button. The portfolio contains all sorts of secrets, blah blah blah. What if her name's in here as well? And this is her way of clearing her debt. Although again, that doesn't really help us prove the innocence. Handful of names, after all, blah blah blah. Anything on the different page? No. Alright, so there's nothing new there. It's either an M or a W. Now the fake omnibus, or the real one, returned properly. The seat looks soft, but it's rather hard when you sit on it. Just wide enough for 2 gentlemen to sit side by side. An English gentlewoman would be dressed in finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Handle. I mean, yeah, it would be pitch black in there. There's absolutely nothing. Storage compartment, there's nothing in. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Yes, you can. Blood soaked into the seat, clearly visible from the roof deck. This is all the same as before. But yeah, the blood stain on the floor hasn't been made mention of. There's the lamp. Entirely possible then that McGill had got the blood on his gloves when he moved the guy back onto the seat. I get the feeling that there's some truth here mixed with lies. A single stab wound to the abdomen. I'm wondering if the loud bang was the door closing and opening. Very heavy-duty door. Could be that she heard, but how do we point that out? Hey, you're in tea, how's it going? Objection, I think that's the right entrance for an ace attorney. It is indeed. How are you doing? Good to see you. So again, we've got the skylight. And we can see a latch there, but it's almost like that's going to be useful. But it's not. Okay. I don't know what we're going to object to, though. So she says she snuck into the carriage before they took the horses. She hid in the box under the thing and she hid all the stuff out of it. She like took it all out to hide it somewhere, which seems a little improbable. Doing okay, just had to deal with a lot of IRL things that took 110% of your time, dude. I understand fully. I'm moving house, so yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm not actually streaming all of next week. I was announcing earlier on there's going to be no streams Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday next week because I've got to focus on clearing out some of the big stuff out of this house and moving into the other house with my parents. So yeah, I'm going to be taking some time out to do that. Life comes at you. So here she says it was a waste of time. She got nothing to show for her troubles. Is that true, though? Thank you, appreciate that. Can't see a thing in the hiding place, it's pitch in there. See, that's why I was looking to see if that was true, like is there like a vent or something, but yeah, it's completely black in there. Here's a loud bang and nearly jumped out of the skin, and the scream just came out. This guy found me and helped me get away. I don't know what we're aiming at here. Let's press them again and see if there's something new now that we've done all of them once. Sometimes that happens. We were already in the bus before it sets for its run. What's the point of spending a joy to make a few bob? No point spending money to make money. This girl is a petty thief. Clears up the mystery of the fares. 4 famed passengers at 5 pence are making the 20 to which the cabin man testified. And the scapegrace riding for 3. The driver always goes for grub before his last run. That's when you slip in the carriage and get yourself hidden under the seat. The storage compartment was full of equipment for the coach. Yeah, brushes and buckets and whatnot, sure. Always chuck that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. According to the report, the officers arrived at the scene. The compartment was full of the paraphernalia. I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all the stuff so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Waste of time, nothing to show for it. Glad it's the weekend. Oh yeah, definitely. Why was it a waste of time? Most nights out on my own, in the God permit, at least some of the time. They call it the omnibus. So she's usually out on her own in the omnibus. Any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. That's when you come out of the hiding place and get away. That's it. But then on that night, this guy was sat next to me from the start, didn't budge the whole way, not one inch, totally stuck. In the carriage for the duration. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now. So she couldn't possibly be the culprit. The hiding place is pitch. Don't see into the cabin at all, not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head to have a look out the crack, and I can have a butcher's at who I'm going to fiddle. And you can have a look. Most of the time the passengers plant themselves on the opposite seats because those are comfier. And then for some reason this guy did, so he sat on the other one. For that reason you weren't able to push the cushion up and peek out. Aren't happy in dark places, feels too much like...
Well, no.
Oh, now he's reacting. Feels like being thrown in the clink. Look at him, he's laughing. Alright.
Excuse me.
Let's challenge that. Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologise. There was something the matter. Was there something the matter, Council? Just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps? You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. 'Twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see, yes. I'm sure we can all sympathise. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything, an unusual noise perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. But Jabers, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade heard something, it might have given us a new vital clue. Like, nobody's screaming in pain when they were stabbed? I mean, how did this guy not actually scream himself when he was stabbed? The name Ryo no Sake has Japanese vibes, yet the setting seems British somehow. Yeah, we're Japanese. So Ryu is a Japanese student. The very first case, he was up for murder. He was on a murder charge, and he's a student at the university in Tokyo. And his friend, Kazuma, not Kiryu from the from the Yakuza games, but Kazuma Asogi, was going to defend him in court, but Ryu was talked into defending himself, so Kazuma decided to aid him and helped get him off the murder charge, and we proved who did it. But Kazuma was going to travel to the British Empire to study the British justice system, like the way their courts work and so on, as part of an exchange program. He died on the way over on the boat. Our character Ryu stowed away on the boat with him, and Kazuma hid him in his closet in the bedroom because he wanted to bring him with him and show him the legal system of another country too, thinking that Ryu would make a good lawyer one day, given how well he defended himself. So that's basically now why we're a lawyer. On the way over in the voyage, we decided to honour Kazuma's memory by studying law, and then when we get here, we plead with the British government to say, look, please let us take Kazuma's place on this exchange thing so it can keep moving forward. You know, it's important. Kazuma was looking forward to it. It was going to be beneficial for both countries, so why not? So we've now been thrown on a day's notice into a trial to defend this Mr. McGilded from stabbing a guy in this coach. And if we succeed, then we can carry on with the student exchange program and take Kazuma's place. If we fail, back to Japan. So that's what we're doing right now. So what should we make of the last statement of hers? It's profoundly important that she heard nothing at all other than the thud onto the deck. My lord. Oh, my lord, I believe the statement... I thought it was exclaiming, my lord! No, my lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind Council, nevertheless. A day's notice, that's like your work calendar? Yeah. Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement, please. What? Supplement? What you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk now. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring. Alright, so let's press this. You could only hear snoring. So you were straining to hear what was happening in the entire time since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry. Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could have just pushed the cushion up and had a butcher's to see what's what. But then when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Wouldn't you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug. Alright, she's rhyming slang, so she probably is Cockney, but I'm going to carry on being Northern. Because I can't do a Cockney accent. So then, all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we've stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So, you never heard the door open? When did the victim get on? When did the killer get on? I think I know now what might have actually happened, guys. I think this guy was stabbed in the street and his body was thrown into the carriage. That would have been the thud. And then he woke up thinking to himself, oh, that guy's been stabbed and he must have been a passenger and he's now fallen forward on the floor, and he helped him back into the seat, which he wasn't in to begin with. One question, is this game on rails, or do you, as the player, have the ability to fail the case? You have the ability to fail the case, yes. If you present wrong evidence, you get penalty points. You only have so many of those. It's like a life gauge that trickles down. You can make the wrong assertions entirely sometimes, but not always. It's only at very specific points during the case where you'll be asked, like we were just told right now, was her statement significant or not? If we'd have said, no, it's not, it might have come back around to be like, no, wait, it is significant and we'll get a second chance. There'll be like a bunch of conversation before we come back around to it. Or, in some cases on the previous games, on the other Ace Attorney games, there was one where we picked one out of a multiple choice, it was the wrong one, and then 10 minutes later the trial derailed so hard it actually failed, and we lost, and that was end game. And we had to go all the way back to a save point where we could carry on from that multiple choice question and pick another one and go down a different path. So you can fail the cases. Absolutely. So it's more of a, it's kind of like a puzzle game in that sense. It's conversation puzzles. So just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old doggy he is. Yeah. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? Well, that doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you've just told the court, it clearly at odds with the facts. Huh? At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. Oh, but hang on. Hang on. No, my theory doesn't make sense. The two people who got on the roof deck, they said they did that because the door was closed and it was locked from the inside. It was latched closed. So they couldn't get in to begin with. So how did somebody throw a body in if that was the case? Unless they're lying about their reason for getting up on the deck. But, oy, I don't know. Okay, let's see where this goes. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zykes realized it too. But yeah, either way, if she said as soon as this guy got on, she heard nothing, that means that door never opened again. At least not until she heard the bang, which might be when the body was thrown in. Counsel? Or dumped through the roof, which means the people on the top deck absolutely fucking lying. Definitely conspiratorially lying. But look, there's a latch there. You can't. We looked at the thing. If we look at it from the inside, let's just see what they say again when we examine it. And go inside, even though this is potentially a tampered carriage now, because this is not the same one we examined at the beginning of the game. And then when the smoke grenade went off in the court and they cleared it, somebody moved the original one and put this one in. But we don't know if this was actually the murder scene one, the true one, or if the other one was. But a large skylight, large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck, doesn't appear to be a handle or a catch of any description. I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. Which is kind of silly, really. It should be openable from the inside. But there's a latch on the outside, but we can't interact with it to point to it. You can see in the cabbage through the opening, that's for sure. There's a lamp in an enclosed cabin. I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly. Not good for us. But that would make a heck of a thud. Somebody dropping in from above if this door was locked. Just a thought. Let's see where this goes. Let's keep the possibilities in mind. I must insist that you bolster your calm with evidence or some complicit party's name at the very least. Or bolster your claim, not calm. Bolster your calm, man. That's a very old English sounding thing to say, isn't it? Man, I insist that you bolster your calm this instant. You're becoming too excitable. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. Oh god, how do we demonstrate this? According to Miss Lestrade, whilst she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGildered snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. Poof, there we go. There's something else she should have heard. We're going to have to save it, 'cause sometimes with these we don't know exactly what the game wants us to present. We know what we want to demonstrate, but it's like it's a toss-up. That old English, you almost fell down laughing. It does, you know, bolster your calm, man. I must insist this once that you desist with these histrionics. Show a piece of evidence or show a person. So we could show the person, that would be the victim. Like, she should have heard that. Should have heard the victim coming into the carriage. If she heard this guy, McGildered, getting in, she should have heard the victim as well, and the killer. If we show a piece of evidence, we could point to the door and say she should have heard the door opening and closing when the killer and the victim got in. Let's do the person, though. I think this is the stronger one. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound, on a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Yes, it worked. If the music stops when you present something, you got it right. Thrice fired Mason? Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus, is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGildered. That it was, not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. She was hiding. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember, through the crack under my seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its journey, during which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? That's what I was thinking. I thought, if she's a pickpocket who's hiding under a seat and would reach out to snatch things as people come and go, wouldn't she be listening for the door so she knows to poke her head out? If I were the dev of this game, I would put a random chance in the game to let the music continue on right answers to play with the player's expectations. Oh god, that would be hell. Because that was how I started to figure out I was getting it right or wrong, was if the music stopped, if you present evidence, it's like, yes, dramatically stops, like, take that. And it's like, oh, we got it right. So in which case, when and how did the victim end up on the carriage? We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. So she's either lying, or the guy was, like I say, thrown into the carriage already dead at that moment. Yes, this petty thief's statement is clearly flawed. Lord Van Zykes? Yes, he knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order, my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colourful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Yeah, we've just done his job for him. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. Uh-oh, uh-oh. No, Granny, no, no! Damn you, old woman! Ugh. She didn't even say anything. She's just like, dead. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she had some rather naughty ways, but I must say, she doesn't like liars. I can't abide liars. Neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways, but I must say, I cannot abide liars. Dude, you just borrowed Granny's phrases. Come on. Get your own catchphrase. This is your chance to develop your own character depth, boy. Come on. Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. The moving wages of justice, or these are the scales of justice, yeah. This is a really weird court system because, like in a normal trial, with a jury, you hear the fullness of the trial, all evidence is exhausted, all statements are made, cross-examined and everything else, and then the jurors retire to a room and start to deliberate the verdict. I know, because I've done jury duty, you know, so that's how it works. And then you come out and give a verdict. Like, once the trial has been concluded, that's when the jurors make their verdict. But in this one, they keep toing and froing and they're allowed to cast their votes while the court is in session. We literally went through the first round of questioning, the first witness statements, and they were like, well, he's clearly guilty, and they all voted guilty. And it's like, all right, the trial stops then. We got a guilty verdict, guys. We had to contest that. It's so really silly. It's like, wait, they're allowed to make their minds up before everything is said and heard? What? Stupid. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. This dude's gonna be drunk. You know what? Oh god. Like with Godot from the last games, from Ace Attorney 3, we had a coffee counter. We should have had a wine counter for this guy, if only I'd have known. Yes, very refreshing. Ah! Ah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern... Oh, wow. Amadan? Oh no, dude, stop with the creepy knife licking. Seriously. This is carnage, it's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going... I know if we can't find some new way to convince everyone that Mr. McGilden's innocent, the judge will rule and we've lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in the service know we must accept hard truths. Oh no. No! Oh! Stop! Yes, the witness's last statement seemed to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story, however, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on the whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate your attempt to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time as testified by the witness in the stand, and yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? Oh, there's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage.
Hmm.